Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to online, virtual, Zoom, YouTube, Temple Micah. I want to wish everybody a beautiful Shabbat, Chol HaMoed Pesach, the Shabbat of the week of our beautiful, joyous holiday of Pesach. Our joy is only diminished in that we cannot be all together as a community of Temple Micah, as a community of the Polanco family, celebrating this great day for them, but also all of us together celebrating not only Shabbat, but this festival of our liberation. So I'd like to begin with a reading. And after this reading, we'll continue with a moment of personal reflection. Religion is not merely a belief in an ultimate reality. A belief such as this is worse than false. It is a platitude. Religion, however, is a momentous possibility. The possibility that what is highest in spirit is also deepest in nature. That there is something at the heart of nature, something that is akin somehow to us, a conserver, an increaser of values, a commitment that the things that matter most are not at the mercy of the things that matter least. We pause now in a moment of personal, private reflection.
So way back in January, I went to Michigan to a place called the Fetzer Institute. It seems like forever ago, but I met there a woman named Mary, who is a sister in the Sacred Heart of Mary. She lives by herself, and she shared with me her morning ritual that she does every single morning. And I thought I'd share it with you because it seems like the most appropriate morning ritual that we could have at this moment. So what she told me is that every morning when she wakes up, when she's getting ready, at some point during the morning, she looks around her house and she tries to find an item that was either a gift from someone or that reminds her of someone or that she bought while she was with someone. And she just takes a brief moment and she closes her eyes and she thinks about the love that that person gives to her. She thinks about what that person means in her life, and then she continues with her morning. I thought this was the most simple and also one of the most beautiful morning practices that I had heard. And in this time where we're, far away from other people, all the more so, this ritual just stands out. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is just to look around wherever you are in your home right now and see if there's anything that reminds you of someone else. I pulled a CD off my shelf right before this service. This reminds me of my brother-in-law. But find something in your house that reminds you of someone else. Look at it. Just think about that person. Think about your gratitude for having that person in your life. And I offer this as something that you can do not just for this morning, but every morning when you wake up, a different item each morning that brings the presence of a person who's not with you physically into your house. And I might suggest now as we continue with our service that whoever you just thought of, whatever item brought you to remember somebody, that that person and that item are now part of this space and now part of this service.
Thank you for that, Rabbi Baraha. I'm really enjoying looking at all of the things in my study where I am and all of the little stories that are behind them, and to just think we're spending so much time in our houses these days that to actually what it would look like to walk through our houses to remind ourselves that every item in it has a story. It might change the experience. We normally go outside for our experiences of awe, but to look inside our houses for that. So thank you. We're moving into a little bit of Hallel, a little bit of the rejoicing that comes with this season of Passover. And there's a question among the rabbis about how far the idea of Hallel, is it a full Hallel? When to stop Hallel? And there's a part of Hallel that we sing, like, from out of the narrows of Egypt we were freed. And we say, how could you, on the Passover Seder, as part of the Passover Hallel, how could you include that? Because we haven't yet been freed. And they say, no, even in anticipation of our freedom, in anticipation that we get out of the narrow places, we sing from out of the narrow places, we enter the world. And so we carry that spirit with us, that in anticipation of joy and freedom along with us as we recite the words of Hallel. And I'm thinking in particular about this passage from Hallel Zeh Hayom Asa Adonai Nagila V'Nismecha Bo. Every day we kind of think this and feel this. This is the day that God made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. But especially the day towards our freedom, especially the day towards our joy, will we sing these words, Zeh Hayom Asa Adonai. This is the day that God made.
Zeh Hayom Asa Adonai. Zeh Hayom Asa Adonai. Nagila v'nismecha, Nagila v'nismecha bo, Nagila v'nismecha, Nagila v'nismecha bo. You can repeat these if you'd like. Zeh Hayom Christ's sake, we continue at the bottom of page 1. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
As I looked, the poplar rose in the shining air like a slender throat, and there is an exaltation of flowers, the surf of apple tree delicately foaming. All winter, the trees had been silent soldiers, a vigil of woods, their hidden feelings scrawled and became scores of black vines, barbed wire sharp against the ice-white sky. Who could believe then in the green, glistening vividness of full-leafed summer? Who will be able to believe when winter again begins after the autumn burns down again and the day is ashen and all returns to winter and winter's ashes, wet, white, ice, wooden, dulled and dead, brittle and frozen? Who will believe or feel in mind and heart the reality of the spring and of birth, in the warm green opulence of summer, and the inexhaustible vitality and immortality of the earth? Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we are, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Adonai, mi kamocha,
We enter now a space of personal prayers, of private prayers, in whatever quietude you can find, either quieting your minds or perhaps even quieting what's happening in your surrounding space. You can use the words in our Siddur, pages 3 and 4 and 5, paying especially attention to the additions for Pesach that are in the Ritzeh and the Avodah, and we'll join back together in song.
Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Amen. Ve'imru
Ki Zion Tetzeh Torah. Out of Zion you will take this Torah, and it will be carried on the shoulders of each generation. Wherever we Jews have gone, we have brought our sacred scrolls, and in all our hard moments, we have turned to its words for wisdom, guidance, and comfort. It pushes us to be more human, and to be better humans. And today, Omer and Eitan, our Torah has traveled one more time to your home for your family to pass it to you as it was passed to them. So Eitan and Omer, I invite you to stand up with your family for the passing of Torah. Damika, I'll ask you to unwrap the Torah, which is in your father's talit, and then pass it to each of your sons. They'll pass it to them, they'll pass it back. And then Omer and Eitan, you'll hold the Torah together and lead us in Shema.
Ledor vador nagid golecha, ledor vador nagid golecha, ulenetzach netzachim krushatcha nakdish.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You can undress the Torah. Beautiful. And everyone but Etan can take their seats, but Etan, you get your Devar Torah ready for us. One of your many responsibilities as a Jew entering adulthood is to teach us words of Torah. So we invite you to do that now.
My parsha is Ki Tisa. Ki Tisa comes towards the end of the book of Exodus. It's famous because of the story of the golden calf, which the people made because they needed to see some image of a god. And the truth is, people don't always need a godlike image or a clear reward and punishment. Sometimes people are motivated by a principle or ideal which seems right to them and ethical and fair. We all know about mitzvot, commandments. There are 613 of them in the Torah. But supporting the mitzvot are midot, ideals or principles. One key sentence in my parsha is God's command, "You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk." This is important to me because I'm a vegetarian and I choose to be compassionate to animals. The ideal, the midah behind the mitzvah, is to be compassionate. Some people are selfish enough to take an animal's life just to eat it. People need to be less selfish, especially now because of the coronavirus. People are dying, and some people only want to save themselves. They want to hoard food or take some unproven drug. Other people, though, are doing kind things, like sharing their toilet paper and other supplies, or volunteering to drive people where they need to go, pick up their groceries, walk their dogs, or also babysit. Many more people are doing what's compassionate and helpful, and that's inspiring. It also means a lot to me that animal shelters are almost out of animals because so many people who didn't have pets before would like to have them now. At the end of my parsha, Moses' face is radiant because he's been speaking to God. He actually has to cover his face with a veil. The people all saw this. It had to be inspiring. When you think about Moses and other great leaders like Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and now Greta Thunberg, they're super determined and inspiring, but still humble. That's a model for what I hope I can grow to be. I'd like to inspire the people around me to be more compassionate to animals, or at least to be kind or do good things that they believe in. Unlike the Israelites at the time, who needed something to see and believe in, something to offer them reward and punishment, I believe we should do good just because we can. That's why I chose to raise money for the Arlington Food Assistance Center, or AFAC for short. AFAC provides dignified food, access to nutritious food. The organization makes sure that everyone gets a fair amount of food. It's important because everyone needs food to survive. And AFAC stood out to me because they made it easy for people to get food. Now that we are in quarantine and there are more people than ever that can't easily get food, I've chosen to raise money for them because they need assistance. If you'd like to join me, go to afac.org. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, thank you. You can sit, and while we marinate on those words and your call to action, I invite up Omer to teach us Torah as well.
My Torah portion is Ki Tisa from the book of Exodus, also known in Hebrew as Shema. The parsha takes place on Mount Sinai soon after the Israelites had escaped from Egypt. The theme of my parsha, Ki Tisa, is fixing without fixing, or solving a problem for a certain people, but not others. Moses had made his way up Mount Sinai to receive the 2 tablets containing the 10 commandments. He had been on the summit for 40 days and 40 nights. When he came back down, he had found the children of Israel worshipping a golden calf they had smelt out of their jewelry and coins. Pinchas Peli explains that for Israelites, it didn't matter if it was a golden calf or Moses. They just wanted someone to follow. He writes, "What a gap between Moses and a handmade calf, but to them this gap does not matter." To Moses, the difference between following him and the golden calf was great. He was so angered by their actions that he threw the tablet containing the 10 commandments to the ground. He went back up Mount Sinai for another 40 days and 40 nights. While he was on Mount Sinai, God roared to Moses, "Your people have betrayed my teachings. They cannot understand how to worship something they could not see. So instead, they built the golden calf. I will destroy the Israelites." Moses pleaded with God to save the Israelites. 15th century commentator Don Isaac Abravanel describes Moses arguing with God. "You know very well that you brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, a land of idolatry. Why do you become angry when they fall back on their old practices? For habit has become second nature to them. And that is what led them to build and worship the golden calf." The way I understand it, Moses says, "If you kill my people, then you are killing your own people. If you are the one who you are the one who created them. It will make you look bad if you were to save the Israelites from Pharaoh, just to wipe them out for following old habits. Moses knew that if we went straight for God's weak point, then the people would be saved. God matures in his thinking and realizes through Moses that the Israelites need time to get used to trusting a God they cannot see. This shows that fixing without fixing does not always make things better. There was one question that came to my attention while reading my portion. Why was God so prideful? Sure, he was all powerful and had many followers, but wasn't God supposed to be fair, equal, and just being who cared about others more than himself? The explanation I could come to was that it wasn't God was proud of himself, but God had pride for the children of Israel. One thing people are asking during this time of crisis is, what is God doing to protect or help us? But to even try to figure that out, you have to know who God is to you. To me, God is someone who is controlling but fair. God is all powerful in the sense he's like a voice in someone's head, giving guidance that is mostly followed but can be ignored. But that doesn't always end well. The relationship between Moses and God is very complicated. Moses is like a son to God. When Moses does something bad or just something God doesn't like, he gets punished. Or when he does something good, he gets rewarded. There are also like close friends. They help each other out when it's needed, and they have times when they can just negotiate things or argue without Moses getting in trouble. We see examples of the theme fixing without fixing in our modern world too. First, with our government deporting immigrants and detaining children, where the government fixes its own problem by sending immigrants back to their home countries, but not fixing or even making the problem worse for the immigrants by sending them back to the war or famine. You can also see it with global warming and pandemics, where governments around the world focus on fixing the economic impacts like stock markets crashing, instead of fixing problems like hunger or global health. My brother and I will help provide food for people who need it. For our Mitzvah project, my brother and I are raising money for the Arlington Food Assistance Center, or AFAC. AFAC provides food for people who cannot afford to purchase enough to meet their basic needs, and food now more than ever is needed for those who lost their jobs or are not getting paid during this outbreak of COVID-19. If you would like to support AFAC, visit their website at www.afac.org for more information. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So you now get ready to read Torah. So you can open our scroll and find your starting place. And for our first Aliyah, our community Aliyah, we invite Jeff Passell to lead us in the blessings. So you just have to find it for a sec.
Yep.
You got it? Okay, take the yad. And you can open the scroll a little more so you can, perfect. And Jeff, whenever you're ready.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Moshe el Adonai Re'eh Ata Omer Elai Ha'et ha'am hazeh Ve'ata lo vodatani et asher tishlach imi Ve'ata amarta yadaticha v'shem v'gam atzatachem be'enai Ve'ata Imna Matzati Ken Be'enecha Hodieni Na Etrachecha Va'ida'acha Lema'anem Sachen Be'enecha Or'ei Ki Amka Hagoy Hazeh Vayomar V'nai Lechu V'nikoti Lach Vayomer Elav Im ein panecha pochim, ota aleinu mizeh, uvameh yivada efo, ki matzati chen be'enecha, ani v'amecha, halo b'lechtecha imanu, aniflinu, ani v'amcha, mikol ha'am, asher al panei ha'adamah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet b'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For our second aliyah, we invite to the screen Stephen and Anne, Bob and Lori, aunts and uncles of the B'nai Mitzvah. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Very good. It's okay. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Omer Adonai El Moshe, Gam et hadavar hazeh, Asher dibarta ezeh, Ki matata chen be'enai, V'ida'aka b'shem. V'yomar har'eli na et kevodecha, V'yomer ani avir kol tuvi al panecha, V'karati v'shem Adonai lefanecha, V'kanoti et asher achon, V'rikamti et asher arachem. V'yomer lo tuchal lir'ot et panai, Ki lo yir'ani ha'adam v'chai. V'yomer Adonai hine makom iti, V'nitzavta ha'atzur. Ve'yeh ba'avor kavodi, V'sachoti v'nikra chatzur. V'sachoti chapi alecha adori. V'asiroti et kapi v'ra'ita et achorai ufanai lo yera'u.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet b'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Our third aliyah is led by you, Omer. We call you up to the Torah in this special way. Yamod, 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 Habachor, Habar Mitzvah, Omer Eitan, Ben Mika Vetoni, La'aliyah Shlishit, Chazak, Chazak.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
V'yomer Adonai El Moshe V'solecha Shnei luchot avanim karishonim v'katavti al haluchot et ha'dvarim asher hayu al haluchot harishonim asher shibarta v'nachon v'boker v'alita v'boker el har Sinai v'nitzavta li shama rosh ha'har v'ish lo ya'aleh imach v'gam ish al meru v'chol ha'har gam hatzon v'habakar al meru al ta'aleh el mul ha'har ahu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. In this sacred special moment, we offer you this blessing. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah הוא יברך את עומר אדריאן בן מיכה ותוני שהגיעה למצוות ועלה לכבוד המקום ולכבוד התורה. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing to you, Omer, who has reached the age of responsibility, and you were called to Torah for the first time. We celebrate all of the dedication that you brought to this sacred moment today. May God watch over you. May your parents continue to raise you to full adulthood, leading you to a life filled with blessing, of chuppah, the joy of a loving relationship, of Torah, Jewish learning, and ma'asim tovim, good deeds. May you find favor before God and the entire Jewish community and the entire world. And together we say,
Amen.
Okay, so you can take us, and it's time for Etan, you to take over. So Etan, find where you are.
Yeah, I got it.
Your spot? Okay, beautiful. This aliyah is led by Gila, Jude, Mira, and Zena, grandmothers and aunts. So I invite you now all to the screen. Okay, and whenever you're ready.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Ambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחרנו עם כל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. Elohei Masika Lo Ta'asela Echad Hamatzot Sishmor Shivat Yamim Tocha Matzot Asher Tziticha Lamoed Kodesh Ha'aviv Ki B'Chodesh Ha'aviv Yatzata Mimitzrayim Kol Peter Rehem V'yi B'chol Minecha Yizachar Peter Shavaseh Upeter Chamor Tite Vese Bimo Tite Berto Kobechor Barha Tite Lawyer U Hanai Rekam Sheshet Yamin Tavod Vayum Hashbi Tishbot Becharish Uvakatir Tishbot Bechag Shavut Tase Lecha Igre Kitir Kitim Bechag Hasif Tegvat Hashana Shalosh Pe'amim Bashana Yireh Kol Zechurcha Adonai Adonai Elohei Yisrael Ki Arish Goyim Miponecha V'Yirchati Lekevuleka Lo Yachmod Ish V'Tortecha Balotecha V'Ra'ot Adonai Elohecha Shalosh Pe'amim Bashana.
The blessing after.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. So for our next aliyah, we have all Polankos. So parents and sisters of the B'nai Mitzvah, Mika, Tony, Ashley, and Maite. So we invite you all to rise and Maite to join us.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who makes it possible to draw people near to the Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives the Torah.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. לא תשכח על חמץ, דם תבכה, לא ילין לבוקר, זבח גג הפסח. ראשית יקרא עד מהתך תביא, Deit Adonai Elohecha lo tevashel kadi v'chalev imo v'yomer Adonai el Moshe ketov lecha et hadvarim ha'ele ki al pi hadvarim ha'ele karati it ha'rit ve'et Yisrael v'yehi sham im Adonai arba'im yom arba'im laila lechem lo achal umayim lo shata v'yakov al halachot et divrei habrit aseret hadvarim.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Bless God, ruler of the universe, who has given humankind a Torah of truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign for all eternity.
Amen.
Amen.
So you all can take your seats because this last aliyah is just for Etan. So we call you up in this special way. Yamod, 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 Habachor Habar Mitzvah, Etan Martin ben Mika Vitoni, La'aliyah Shishi, Chazak, Chazak.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayehi beredet Moshe mehar Sinai lifnei luchot hadut yad Moshe ritov minahar Moshe lo yada ki karan or panav badibro ito vayar Aaron mikol bnei Israel et Moshe v'hine karan or panav vayru migashet elav vayikra alehem Moshe vayishuvu elav Aaron mikol nasi'im v'adar v'daber Moshe alehem v'yircherechen nikshu kol bnei Yisrael v'yitzaveim et kol asher diber Adonai ito behar Sinai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And in this moment, we offer you this blessing. Misha berach avotenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarev Rachel v'Leah hu yevarach et Etan Martin ben Mika v'Toni shegi'ah lemitzvot ula'al likvod hamakom ulikvod haTorah. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing to you, Etan, for you have reached the age of responsibility and you were called to Torah for the first time. We celebrate all the hard work that brought you to this sacred moment today. We ask that God watch over you and that your parents continue to raise you to full adulthood, leading you to a life filled with blessing of Torah, of Jewish learning, of chuppah, the joy of a loving relationship, and always ma'asim tovim, good deeds. May you find favor before God and the entire Jewish community and the entire world. Together we say, Amen.
Amen.
Beautiful. So at this point, you can redress the Torah, the two of you. And Omer and Eitan, you can prepare your Haftarah.
It is a tree of life to those who hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to those who hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom. It's time,
Beautiful Torah reading. Now, if you will both stay up there and prepare for your Haftarah, Etan will kick us off, and then Omer, you'll take over with the blessing, and then Etan will read, and then Omer will read, and then Etan will give us the blessing.
Our Haftarah comes from the book.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
Our Haftarah comes from the book of Amos. Amos was a prophet who lived in Israel in the 8th century BCE. A prophet is someone who speaks out about what they do and don't believe in. In his time, the people of Israel were not keeping their mitzvot. Amos hated hypocrisy, so he spoke out against rich business people who were cheating and stealing money from their poor customers. Just like MLK, Greta Thunberg, Gandhi, and other prophets I admire, Amos bravely spoke truth to power. In my Haftarah portion, he says God will never forget when poor are cheated. God will punish them, and they will come to a bitter end.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzah b'divreim hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'Vindi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Shemizot hashofim evyon v'lashbit aniei aretz lamor matai yavor hachodesh nashbir hashever v'hashabat v'nitachabar v'haktin ephah v'lagil shekel v'et moznei mirma liknot v'kesef talim ve'evyon ba'avor na'alayim u'mapal bar nashbir nishba Adonai bigon Yaakov imeshkach la'netzach kol ma'asehem ha'al zot lo tirgaz ha'aretz va'aval kol yoshev ba va'al tacha'ur kula v'nigasha v'nishka kiyor mitzrayim v'haya v'ayom hahu ne'um Adonai Elohim v'haveti hashemesh tzoharaim v'hachashachti la'aretz v'yom or v'hafakti hagerchem la'evel v'koshirchem laki na v'ha'aleti al kol matnaim sak v'al kol rosh karcha samtia ke'evel yachid ve'acharita ke'yomar hine yamim ba'im ne'um Adonai Elohim ishlachti ra'av ba'aretz lo ra'av la'lechem lo tamah la'mayim ki mishmoa et divrei Adonai na'u miyam ad yam u'mitzafon ve'ad mizrach tushotetu levakesh et dvar Adonai v'lo yimtza'u.
Hayom hahu akim et sukat David hanofelet v'gadarti et pirtzehem yarizotav akim uvniti hakimei olam lama'an yirshu et sherit etom lechol hagoyim asher nikra shemi Alehem ne'um Adonai oseh zot. Hine yamim ba'im ne'um Adonai v'nagash horesh b'kotzer v'dorech anavim b'moshech hazara v'hitifu harim asis v'chol hagvaot titmogagne v'shavti et shavut Yamim Israel Uvanu Arim Neshamot Ve'yashvu ונטעו חרמים ושתו את יינם ועשו גנות ואכלו את פריהם ונטעתים על אדמתם ולא ינטשו עוד מעל אדמתם אשר נתתי להם. אמר אדוני אלוהיך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzaddik bechol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'medaber m'kayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al hakol, ve'al ha'torah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevi'im, ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, L'kisha linucha, lechavod ultifaret. Al hakol, Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umbarchim otach, yisbarach shimcha, v'fi kolcha tamid le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Siman tov, mazel tov, siman tov, mazel tov, siman tov, mazel tov, siman tov, Yeheilanu, 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 Ulechol Yisrael, Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Ulechol Yisrael, Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Ulechol Yisrael, Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Ulechol Yisrael.
Etan and Omer, I invite your parents to stand beside you as we offer you and your whole family this blessing. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ye'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you safe. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may God lift God's face onto you and give you our most precious gift, the gift of shalom, of peace. Mazel tov. Amen.
Amen.
So, and just a few notes, a few messages that have come in over the airwaves. Etan and Omer, we are seeing wishes coming in from Michelle J. in Massachusetts, who says, congratulations. I see some notes from Texas, that you have friends in Texas that are watching. A note here, Con Abros Huertes from the Medbain Cruz family that are sending in. Carlisle, Jason, and Owen are saying Mazel Tov. So many Mazel Tovs that are coming in from Makeba, Azizia, and family coming in. So congratulations, you read beautifully, you taught beautifully, and I hope you both feel, and your whole family feels warmed and special in this moment for all of the dedication and hard work that you did. Amen. You can all take a seat. Okay. So our bar and bat mitzvah students have many responsibilities, which you have all seen Etan and Omer fulfill this morning. In addition to teaching and chanting Torah, to leading blessings and reading Haftarah, one additional responsibility of Temple Micah's bar and bat mitzvah students is that they have to come up with one really good question to ask the rabbis. And today, each of our rabbis will offer an answer to their questions. So without further ado, dear Etan, you asked me, what does bar mitzvah mean? Does it really mean that I'm an adult, or in your language, a full human? Which I loved. I love that language of full human because I believe that is what each and every one of us is seeking and is on that journey that all of us are still on. is to become a full human, a human with integrity and wholeness. But what my hope is, Etan, is that the bar mitzvah is something that sets you up well for that journey towards fullness. There's an ancient teaching from the Midrash asking about this coming of maturity event. There, the sages say, until the age of bar mitzvah, parents are obligated to teach their children the way of Torah and mitzvot, and to separate for them what is forbidden. Now, if I translated that into modern language, I think it would read, up until bar mitzvah, your parents are obligated to teach you how to act and how to be, and how not to just tell you what is bad, but actually protect you from it. Why do they do this? The Midrash asks. In order, they say, to dedicate you for holiness. In order that you can live a holy life, that you can walk a holy path. So first we have to define holiness, which I would say my favorite definition of holiness is ethical rigor and ritual profundity. And as a bar mitzvah, now you join your parents in this reach towards ethics and profundity. The bar mitzvah is a holy moment that is meant to spark more holy moments on the path towards wholeness, on full humanity. For you set a path forward for yourself, wherein you now seek your own holiness. How? By always thinking critically, asking great questions, lifting up truth, and lifting up human dignity. And by making the Jewish rituals, making all the rituals your own. So I just want to tell one short story about that. In the part of Torah that you read today, Moses takes the 10 commandments that were literally carved by the hand of God. And when he sees the idol of the golden calf, he smashes them on the ground. And in a play on the Hebrew that was read today, Asher Shibarta, one rabbi, Reish Lakish, says that this actually means Yishar Kochacha Sheshibarata, Yasher Koach, power to you, all power to you for breaking them. Etan, this Judaism, this Torah is yours. And your job as a bar mitzvah is to break it wide open. Find meaning in it, make it relevant, and break it open in a way that always warrants a Yasher Koach, a you did it, power to you. And now I turn it over to Rabbi Baraha.
Hi, friends. Etan, Mazel Tov, great job reading Torah. Your family looks great over there. Love the balloons, so festive. So 2 questions you've asked. What does bar mitzvah mean? And am I actually an adult now? Let's start with the second question first. Are you an adult now? My answer is no. I'm not sure that I'm even an adult. So that's how I got to the answer of no, not quite an adult. Literally, we know that bar mitzvah means son of the commandments. And if you ask most people, they'll tell you that becoming a bar mitzvah means that you're now a responsible member of the Jewish community. The mitzvot, commandments that were mere suggestions when you were younger, like fasting on Yom Kippur or counting in a minyan, are now obligatory. But that's not a great answer, because those are like repeated lines that people just say. And no 13-year-old's parents are saying to them, you're a bar mitzvah now. We expect you to fulfill all the mitzvot that in the 6th grade you didn't fulfill. So your question is great, because it pushes us to do something that we talk about all the time at Temple Micah, which is to come up with new language to try to describe what it is that we're talking about. We can't just take the inherited sentences from the past and repeat them. And if we are going to repeat them, they need new breath breathed into them. So I attempted 3 definitions. What does bar mitzvah mean? Definition number 1. Bar mitzvah is a way to construct time in a way that's not repetitive. If most of living is sameness and recurrence, as Milton Steinberg says, then there have to be moments that stand out. Time out of time that marks a change. Otherwise, life is ordinary and monotonous. And so we participate in these rituals like bar mitzvah that help us feel like living is in colorless and dull. So answer number 1, bar mitzvah is a way of constructing time. Number 2, bar mitzvah is an invitation into the Jewish conversation. So I want to say to you this morning, Etan, welcome. You now have a seat at the table, and your parents and your community and the entire Jewish past is listening to what you have to say. This week, Rabbi Zemel taught Pirkei Avot 1:1, which talks about the chain of tradition. Torah study was democratized. Torah study is for everybody. It wasn't given once upon a time to one person. It was passed down from generation to generation. And so part of bar mitzvah is an invitation to you to now be part of that conversation. And 3, I wrote, bar mitzvah is a symbol that Torah isn't static. This is kind of related to the last answer. Rashi says, Sheyihu divrei Torah chadashim alecha keilu hayom natatam, that the Torah should be new to you as if God gave it to you today. If the elders kept repeating Torah and we never gave it to you and we never heard what you have to say, well, then at some point that would get a little gray. And so bar mitzvah is a way of keeping this project fresh and a symbol that in due time, you will be the one to teach us Torah and that you will then continue this conversation. So those are my attempts at redefining or rethinking what bar mitzvah means.
Mazel tov, Etan. So I'd like to share my thoughts also on your very, very actually hard and complicated question. So I'm going to cite an ancient teaching as well. The famous bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, in your case, bar mitzvah teaching. Today I am a man, tomorrow I'm back in 7th grade. So the question is, what does bar mitzvah really mean, which has been addressed by both of my colleagues. So I want to put bar mitzvah into a somewhat wider context of what ritual is, which I think both of my colleagues have tried to do. Ritual is transformative. So I'll give a few examples of how ritual is meant to be transformative. One very, very famous example, I think of the anthropologist Clifford Geertz, is if two people are standing, or a group of people are standing by a dock where a boat is being launched, and they see somebody smash a bottle of champagne over the bow of the boat, and they say, this boat is now the USS Arlington, let us say, in terms of where you're sitting. And if the people at the dock say, what just happened there? They don't understand that the name of the boat that's being launched is named Arlington, then that ritual hasn't worked. But of course, people understand what that means. The same thing if you have a wedding couple at a chuppah, okay? And the couple leaves the chuppah, and what just happened there? If they don't understand that the people got married under the chuppah, then the ritual hasn't worked. A couple, two individuals go into the chuppah as single individuals, but they come away and they're a married couple. So the question is bar mitzvah like that? Is bar mitzvah like the ritual of the boat that's being launched and is being named, where it's implicitly understood what's going on? Is bar mitzvah like the ritual of two people who stand under the wedding canopy, and of course they come away a unit, going in single and coming away a couple? Do you stand at a Torah scroll, chant Torah, and poof, you become an adult? Is that what bar mitzvah is or bat mitzvah is? My answer is no. It is much, much harder. And I'm going to give you a really, really hard answer. It depends on you. But saying it depends on you is in a sense unfair, okay? My colleague, Rabbi Braha, just cited the Jewish conversation. I was also going to cite that metaphor of the Jewish conversation. The question is, will you as a family unit with your brother, will you with your parents try and engage from this moment of standing at the Torah together, you and your brother individually, but then as a family, will you try and take this moment as a moment of ritual and change the nature of the family conversation with you two as fuller partners? Will you try and ask yourselves introspective questions? How might I be different? How might I come away with this moment differently? And I want to just say one additional thing. You've both already planted the seed for yourselves. You both have taken on the responsibility, especially in the moment, which is such a pressing responsibility, to feed people in your neighborhood that are hungry through AFAC, the Arlington Food Assistance Center. You've taken that first step, but let it be just that, a first step. To continue the Jewish conversation means, how can I continue to be more and more and more of a human being in the world in which I reside? How can I embrace with an ever-growing love and an ever-growing seriousness the community in which I live? And so if you take this moment as a way to continue opening up that question, then I'll say, yes, this has been a truly transformative ritual moment. Mazel tov to all of you.
So we'll move on to the next question, and then we'll share maybe some reflections on all of these. So, dear Omer, your question came to me from a series of questions. First, you asked me, why did it take 40 years for the Israelites to cross the desert when it only took my mom 10 hours on a bus? Maybe it was 12, I can't remember. 9, 15. All right, 15 hours. Still, 40 years, 15 hours, very different. So we looked at the Torah. Well, first we looked at Google Maps and tried to see how long it would take to walk. And I think it was a couple days. And then we looked at the Torah, which tells us that everywhere the Israelites tried to enter the land of Israel, the kings of that area would not let them pass. And this inspired what your question ended up being, which is, what impact did this history of facing oppression and prejudice have on the Jewish people? What a question, Omer. We have a rich history. We have a history of being kings and queens. We have a history of being traders. We have a history of being priests, and yet we wrote our history not from the perspective of kings, not from the perspective of traders, not from the perspective of farmers or priests, but from the perspective of slaves. And twice a day, we remember that we were slaves in Egypt. And we just read in the Haggadah that we are supposed to remember that we were slaves in Egypt all the days of our lives. Every day, we are supposed to remember that we are slaves. Why? I just want to share one short story. Last spring, I was running late for an appointment, and not wanting to deal with parking, I called a Lyft. I don't remember exactly how it came up in the car, but somehow it came up that I was Jewish and that I was a rabbi. After the Lyft driver stated a strong desire to travel to Israel himself, he said it to me, "You know you guys run the whole world, right? Don't you agree?" My shields went up immediately. Expecting some kind of veiled or not so veiled expression of anti-Semitism, I very hesitantly asked, "What do you mean by that?" His response caught me off guard. I still get chills thinking about it. He said, "Well, I really believe that God chose the Jewish people for a specific reason, and they went through all of these challenges and all of this oppression and got spread all over the world and went through all of that exile. Why?" he said. "So that they could really be the inspiration for how to live good lives and to not become pharaohs themselves." This is the importance of our history, the importance of the oppression that we face, not so that we live in this kind of sad, lachrymose version of history, a pattern which is over and over where we predict our own oppression, but instead to do exactly what my Lyft driver instructed us to do, is to not become pharaohs, to avoid at all costs becoming pharaohs. Pharaohs who separate themselves from their communities, pharaohs whose stubbornness brings loss and pain, pharaohs whose hearts are not open to the capacity to see miracles or human suffering. And so we have our history, even full of oppression as it is, and we build from it, so that we are never like the ones who refused us entry. So we are never like the ones who enslaved us. And so we are never, never like the ones who lead out of fear and not hope. And that's the challenge for all of us. With that, I turn it over to Rabbi Baraha once again.
I'm wondering if anyone watching has heard the word grit, G-R-I-T. It's all the talk in education circles these days. Grit is defined as follows. Grit is passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Grit is about having what some researchers call an ultimate concern, a goal you care about so much that it organizes and gives meaning to almost everything you do. And grit is holding steadfast to that goal, even when you fall down, even when you screw up, even when progress toward that goal is halting or slow. The woman behind this new obsession, or the woman behind grit and the studies that brought us grit as a predictor of success, her name is Angela Duckworth, and she has a team of researchers. Apparently the concept goes back to William James and even to Aristotle. But for me, Omer, when I heard the word grit, I thought, of course, this is the story of the Jewish people. Passion and perseverance for a long-term goal, check. Having an ultimate concern, check. And holding steadfast to that goal even when you fall down, check. We are people who in the face of adversity keep our heads high. Though adversity has caused us misery, pain, and suffering, we recognize that it is merely a part of our story, that it is not everlasting. In the face of adversity, we bring our determination for life. We bring humor and creativity. We bring lightness and ambition. Adversity helps us to reaffirm who we are and who we want to be. I guess the best thing to do now would be to give an example. If you read the book of Lamentations, which I've seen quoted a lot in these past few weeks, you'll read sentences like this. Alas, lonely sits the city, this is Jerusalem, once great with people. She that was great among nations has become like a widow. Bitterly she weeps in the night, her cheeks wet with tears. There is no one to comfort her. Adversity. But if you read the commentary on Lamentations, and this is, in some way, you could put this in the category of humor, the rabbis insisted that when the verse reads, there is no comfort for her, it in fact means the opposite. And they go through all these situations in the Torah where it said that there was no, and then there was. Sarah, it says she was barren, and then we know that Sarah had a baby. And so the rabbis, in their bold thinking, they took a catastrophe, and they knew that that can drive a civilization into despair. And they knew it could also do the opposite. So the question was, remain a victim or rise above it? Jews have always chosen and strived to do the latter, to rise above it. Now, I don't think what I'm about to say is unique to Jews, but just look at what happened this week. Did we cancel Seder or your B'nai Mitzvah? Did we cancel that? The answer is no and no. We brought creativity to the situation. Rabbi Schwartz, a member of the congregation who is also a retired rabbi from Massachusetts, he once stopped me and he said to me, after all my years, I figured it out. The entire message of the Torah is love. This is who we are, Omer. And I'd say that our desire to love and our will to love, and not just ourselves, but others as well, has only increased throughout the ages. That's a decision that we've made. In the face of adversity, we choose to love.
Well, Omer, after the wisdom of my two colleagues, I'm going to repeat, and I'm going to be perhaps a little more open-ended in terms of what is the experience of adversity? How does it affect us? So I'm going to offer two texts. One is, of course, the text of the Haggadah, a different variation of the text that Rabbi Crowley said. I'm simply going to say our experience of adversity comes to what can we learn from this? Of course, it's perhaps maybe the most famous line of the Haggadah, borrowed from the Mishnah. Each generation, each one of us has to look at ourselves as if we are a newly freed slave. We can never look at ourselves. We don't look at ourselves as royalty. We look at ourselves as those who are tasting, as if in the very, very moment, from the sweet, sweet waters of freedom. We have to appreciate freedom at every single moment. We have to do everything we can to share that freedom with others. That is what a history of remembering, of keeping alive and fresh the memory of adversity, enslavement within us creates as an eternal, ongoing, ledor vador, from generation to generation, transmitted obligation. That is for sure the bar to which we aspire. I'm going to quote another, if not a text, a very insightful saying that I learned from a member of the Micah community, and he ascribes it to his father. He learned from his father this wisdom. Jews are like everyone else, only more so. So when the glass is half full, that means if there are Nobel Prizes being given out, Jews are more so. We're going to get more than our percentage of Nobel Prizes because that's who we are. If there are Pulitzer prizes being given out, we're going to win more than our share of Pulitzer Prizes because we have experienced an adversity. We work hard. We aspire to greatness within ourselves. We've inherited a tradition which analyzes every single situation from every possible point of view. Gamze v'gamze 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 divrei Elohim Chaim. Both this point, and this attitude, and that opinion, and that understanding, and that interpretation, all of this are insights of the living God. We will analyze and research to the very, very end, to the very, very limit, because that is in our spiritual DNA. But when Jews are like everyone else, even more so, it can also mean the other half of what Ben Bagbag is saying. Hafachba v'afachba d'kulaba. Turn it and turn it, because everything is in it. Because there is wisdom and stupidity in the Torah. There is courage and there is cowardice. There is everything in our inherited past. So even more so, while we can aspire to greatness, we can also fall into the trap of being people who do not always walk the path that we wish for them to walk, okay? We can be occupiers. We can be evildoers. We can be those who simply do wrong, and we should not sweep that under the rug. We should not hide that. We should face the things that we do wrong, and we should confront it with great, great honesty. King David was not allowed to build the temple because he had blood on his hands. Solomon enslaved people to build the temple, and Solomon's son Rehoboam caused the kingdom of Israel to be split because he was so harsh in his rule. We have that in our DNA also, and b'chol dor vador chayav adam leirot et atzmo, we have to work always the harder to overcome that part of our impulse always. So embrace the entire Torah, embrace the glory, embrace the wisdom, and let it guide you towards the path that Torah wants us to be on, where its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all of its paths are always peace. that can be a lasting bar mitzvah lesson. Mazel tov.
So you're leaving today with, I think my head is spinning, but you're leaving today then with these 6 messages, these 6 blessings for you in your lives, and just to bring them together, what our blessings for you, Etan and Omer, are, is that this transformative ritual gives you the ability to create your own newness, to live a life of purpose, that you dedicate your life, and that depends on you as full partners in the conversation, full partners in the Jewish conversation, full partners in the conversation of your family, and full partners in the conversation of your own lives. And in order to do that, it means to always embrace the fullness of yourself, your faults and your good sides, and to face them honestly in order to keep on with your grit, to create freedom for others, and to work always, always hard to not become the pharaohs of our world. And so a blessing for you on this day, on a day full of blessings, and looking forward to seeing the world that you're creating together. Mazel tov.
We turn back to our service sheets now. If you're following along, we're on the bottom of page 7. And we call to mind those in our community who are in need of healing this Shabbat. Source of life, our refuge and fortress, we live in trying and uncertain times. How many of us are pained in body, mind, and soul? We think especially this Shabbat of Maya Jane Adaki, Emily Oprin Fish, Frank Anderson, Evie Beck, Ronnie Behar, Shelley Bruner, Gideon Culliver, Rafi Elijah, Nathaniel Felber, Cello Fournier, Bob Geller, Bernie Goldblatt, Samantha Goldsmith, Barbara Gordon, Carol Greenberg, Edward Greenberg, John Hall, Bob Katroser, Dorothy Kirby, Shirley Katz, Philip Levine, Elaine Lowengard, Deborah Furry Maggie, Avital Manor, David Merrill, Doug Meyer, Kathleen Nolan, Goldie Nussbaum, Janie Polofsky, Ellie Pearl, Abby Hirsch Phillips, David Ransahoff, Lois Rosen, Eric Rosenberg, Barry Rubens, Sam Stalick, Joan Schwartz, Mary Schwartz, George Scott, Brian Skornick, Eve Sparberg, Lillian Sugarman, Betty Houston, Lydia Vanderloo, Larry Wiener, Jonathan Winter, Bill Whitty, and Lauren Zoltik. We hold in our hearts also medical professionals and grocery store workers, pharmacists and delivery men and women, and all those people who are working outside of the home in order to help others. We also think of those out of a job with uncertain futures ahead, and the neediest of our world for whom this virus has brought acute fear and anxiety. God of love, compassion, and kindness, who has brought us through the desert to hope and life renewed, bring us healing now. Allow us in patience and with strength to see better days. Let the redbuds and cherry blossoms, the tulips and azaleas serve as a reminder that you are near. And together we can move forward with life and vigor. We can say together, Amen.
Mekor abracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Ishebeirach imotenu, mekor habracha lamotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the
With those thoughts of healing in our mind, we turn now to a prayer for our world. God, it is written in the Psalms that you neither slumber nor sleep in your protection of the world. We ask that you protect us now. Protect our caretakers and our medical professionals, and protect all those who cannot stay home. God, we do not ask you to change the course of the world, but to be with us now, as you were with us as we wandered the wilderness. And so we pray that you dwell with us now and bring us comfort. Help us to remember the blessings of our own lives and increase our capacity for courage and compassion to bring blessing to others. Sur Yisrael, Rock of Israel, grant us resolve as we fight hardened hearts and continue to uphold the sanctity of all human life, regardless of class or creed or age. And from our closed doors and our shut windows, we pray, open us. Keep our hearts open to kindness, our hearts open to justice, and our hearts open to love. Amen.
As we approach the Kaddish, I remember. I remember for those of us who are old enough, we can remember the days after 9/11, 2001, when in those days and in the weeks after, the newspapers would print photos of those whose lives were lost and short biographical sketches of everybody that was killed on that horrendous day. And I remember I would discipline myself. I would force myself every single day to read the complete biographical sketch of every single person who was taken. We are now, I guess, 19 years past that, almost 19 full years past that. And now our country is again suffering a huge tragedy. And we see numbers being published every day of the number of Americans that have been killed, and the Americans that have died from this, in this pandemic, and the number of people around the world. And it seems at this point there are almost too many. The numbers are just staggeringly high. And so we just get brief biographical sketches in the newspaper of just some of them. And we have to remember, we have to urge ourselves to remember that every single one of those whose lives are being taken had people that love them, that there's a gaping hole in the lives of their circle, their family, their loved ones, that there's a diminishment in the world. There's a diminishment in their immediate world, and there's a huge diminishment in our entire world as this pandemic is wreaking the havoc. The Seder is we're only days away from the Seder, where we read the 10th plague of the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death. And I'll say it perhaps in a not, the angel of death is wreaking havoc everywhere. And for that, we are all very sorry. And so as we embrace the entire world, we now embrace our more immediate community. First, remember those lost to violence in our own city in recent days. Gabriel Eason, age 2 of Northeast Washington, Bria Moon, age 21 of District Heights, and David Jandra Young, age 28 of Clinton. These 3 lives were lost within our own city just in recent days. We're in a period of Shiva for Jake McDonald, the nephew of Laura Ferguson, and Shirley Katz, the grandmother of Dan Bahar. We observe Shloshim for Donald Gardner, the father of Jamie Gardner, Shirley Ingersoll, the mother of Lynn Ingersoll, Sue Ransohoff, the aunt of Martha Adler, Vicki Rubenstein, the mother of Ben Rubenstein, Kenneth Wentworth, the father of David Wentworth. And we link to them the names for whom Yartzeit is observed on this Shabbat: Adam Hunter Aaron, Fred Arkin, Ed Arvey, Carol Bierman, Shimon Brand, Morton J. Brown, Marion Cohen, Edward DeGrazia, Evelyn Ellisberg, Sari Glasser Erlinger, Peter Foyer, Alfred M. Friedman, Joseph Gassman, Isidore Asher Goldstein, Claire Hirsch, Norman Inlander, J. Vernon Jackson, Louis Katzman, Glenn Gamble Kiggins, Fanny Kinstein, Molly Kruth, Sidney Landfield, Crystal Lang, Jack Milstein, Ann Mulvaney, Ellen Pissell, Fred Rosenbaum, Theodore Seelig, Leon Sondick, and Marcia Wagman. We embrace all of them in our hearts, and we join together reciting Kaddish, remembering also those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Yitkadal v'yitkadash me rabbah, v'yomad divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'gala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehesh me rabba mevarach le'olam lomei omayah, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar v'yithalei v'lal shemei kudisha brechu leila min kol berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran b'yoma v'imru amen. Yeshlom rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yakol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May one who causes peace to reign in the highest of heavens grant peace to Israel, grant peace to all the world, as together we say, Amen. Amen. So we'll close out this Shabbat with these words that are before us. I believe on our page, Oseh Shalom. And what I love to say, Deborah, take us home.
Gladly. And once again, I'll invite all of the members of Omer and Eitan's B'nai Mitzvah class to be getting up, to be clapping along, to be singing along just as enthusiastically as if were we in our own sanctuary. Oseh Shalom B'Ramav at the bottom of page 8. Oseh Shalom B'Ramav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom v'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom v'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.